Turns out I was right about patch 10.2. Sort of. I'll explain, but for now, servers are down. My name is Swag, and this is the Vault Day Update. Patch 10.2 has been announced to release November 7th, which includes a new zone, the Emerald Dream, new customizations for Druids and Blood Elves, interestingly enough, a new PvP Brawl, and of course, extra dragon riding customization. Of course, if you've been watching my videos for some time, you would know I predicted November 14th. So why am I saying that I was kind of correct? In the follow-up video, I did clarify that I had made a calculation error and that I actually thought it'd be November 7th, but because apparently I'm really good at being right even when I'm wrong, while patch 10.2 is releasing November 7th, Season 3 does not begin until November 14th, and isn't that really what matters the most? So on November 14th, the raid will open up and the new Mythic Dungeon rotation will begin. Now, for anyone who is not aware, the only dragonflight dungeons in Season 3 are going to be the Dawn of the Infinite Dungeons Part 1 and Part 2. Everything else will be returning old content, something Blizzard has been doing all of this expansion and at the end of Shadowlands, and personally, I kind of think it's a cool way to keep things spiced up, and it allows them to reuse dragonflight content next expansion without feeling overdone. For our raiders watching, it is worth noting that Season 3 is going to be tougher for raids than the previous season. Blizzard has stated they want it to feel more like the start of an expansion and not midway through an expansion when you're already super geared and you're coming into the raid kind of halfway into the gear level already. So the gear jump is going to be pretty big going into the new raid season. So I would suggest checking out the Emerald Dream Zone from November 7th to the 14th as a way to pick up some extra gear as you get ready for raid. As always, the PTR has been blessing us with plenty of leaks that are giving details, or hopefully details, about the future of the World of Warcraft story. Our newest leak is a reference to a cinematic that we have not seen, so we don't know what the cinematic is about, but we do have a title that references New Moon. There's a couple cinematics going on, but this one in particular, New Moon, is interesting, and there are NPCs that also use the New Moon title. Most WoW lore analyzers are predicting that this is in reference to the upcoming expansion, where we are going to the moon in World of Warcraft in order to fight moon dwarves. The story goes that the moon dwarves are fighting the Mecha Moon gnomes, and that we are to interfere with that conflict. The Alliance will be siding with the Moon Dwarves, of course, makes the most sense, while the Horde will be siding with the Mecha Moon Gnomes. Of course, if that's wrong, it could be in relation to Elune, and the Night Elves going back to their roots and following Elune. When I looked at the models for the New Moon NPCs, their eyes are blacked out, just as Tyranda's was when she was the Night Warrior. Could this be a sign as to what's to come, and possibly more Elune story, because we still don't know hardly anything about Elune, and she has been an integral character in World of Warcraft lore for pretty much forever. Hallow's End begins Wednesday and ends at the end of October. You can fight the Headless Horseman or go around collecting tricks and treats from the Innkeepers of Azeroth. This year they've added some new loot, including a Velocidrake saddle and the Bucket of Morbid Treats, which is an offhand treat bucket item. It's a pumpkin that you get to hold in your hand. It's pretty cool. This week's PvP Brawl is South Shore versus Terran Mill. If you ever want to experience those old days of World of Warcraft World PvP, this is the perfect battleground experience. Continue to get ready for patch 10.2 with another week of Timewalking. This week is Mists of Pandaria, and as per the Turbulent Timeways event, you can still pick up that weekly quest, which will reward you a heroic raid piece of gear simply for doing 5 Timewalking dungeons. It's a pretty good reward. Don't miss out on it. And this week's affixes are the affixes we had last week, because apparently I can't read and I got it wrong. So to save myself some editing time, I'm gonna let last week's Swag explain it to you. This week's affixes are Fortified, Afflicting, and Raging. Afflicting will cause mobs to spawn throughout combat that need to be dispelled or healed in order to make them go away. If you don't make them go away, your group's probably gonna wipe. Now, one of my favorite things to do is I play a Resto Shaman, so my Poison Cleanse totem will actually take out 2 of them at once every time I put it down. That's a little secret for our Resto friends out there. And Raging causes your enemies to become immune to crowd control effects below 30% health. Be cautious and careful how you handle that. It's not too bad, but it can be an annoyance. And that's everything happening this week in the World of Warcraft. My name is Swag. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you next week.